Hey everyone, this is Captain Orlando Muniz with Nomad Fishing Charters, and after a brief hiatus, we were off on vacation for the last couple of weeks, so you haven't been seeing the fishing reports. Well, I'm back and ready to get back to work. This week, we fished a couple days, right around the full moon. It was pretty slow fishing overall, but we did manage to catch some muttons and some smaller reef fish. Nothing too crazy. We're going to be fishing again this weekend. So with that said, let me get on with the fishing report. Before I start talking about that, I also wanted to mention, please do not forget to hit that like button and leave us any questions or comments you may have. Getting back to the fishing and current events, the lobster season opened up about a week ago with the mini lobster season, the 2-day mini lobster season. Right now that's closed. It's closed in general until I believe it's August 6th, where it reopens for everyone, including commercial fishermen. I was out earlier this week and there was a lot of commercial boats going out and laying down their pots, and they're going to be harvesting them starting on I believe it's the 6th. So with that said, there's a couple ways to harvest lobster. You can dive, you can also bully net them at night. I'll probably be working on a tutorial on that pretty soon and going over some of the different ways you can catch lobster for yourself. Let's get on to the fishing. We'll start with mahi offshore and work our way back inshore. There's been a good amount of mahi offshore. The only issue has been that a lot of them are small fish, mostly throwbacks. There are some nice fish mixed in, so if you put in the time, you could easily catch your limit. Speaking of the limits, there have been some changes recently to mahi limits. In state waters, you're allowed to keep 5 mahi per person. Federal waters, it's 10. So some people may say, well, I caught them in federal, so I guess I'm okay with 10. That is partially true. But if you're stopped in state waters and you're fishing, it's going to be hard to prove where you caught them. So just be careful with that. Make sure you know the law. And if you are fishing federal waters, make sure you don't stop and fish anywhere in state waters, because you may have a hard time explaining that to the FWC official. Also with the mahi, one little tip I'm going to give you guys: carry a large stand-up rod or some type of heavy gear on the boat, rigged with a large hook, and as a pitch bait, because there have been some blue marlin this week chasing those mahi around. I got some really crazy video from one of the other guides in the area. They were out mahi fishing and they had a big, I don't know how big the fish was, but it's probably 200-300 pound blue marlin, all lit up, chasing their mahi around. And when you get that, all you need is that pitch bait. You get it out there, and that fish will typically eat that small peanut mahi or whatever mahi you throw at him. He will eat it. So it's good to have a pitch bait ready to go, and you can catch a fish of a lifetime that way. Moving in a little closer to the reef, there's been some mangrove snapper at night. These fish are averaging anywhere from like 1 to 3 pounds. And I like to fish from anywhere from like 40 to like 60 feet, depending on the current. You fish from kind of like you do yellowtail snapper. You anchor, you chum, and you just feed them. And a lot of times you have to use a little, they feed a little closer to the bottom most of the time, so you need a little bit of weight, maybe like a little knocker rig, a ½ ounce weight, depending on the current. Small hook, it could be a circle hook, J hook, doesn't really matter. I personally use circle hooks and they work fine. You can use cut bait, you can use small live baits, they all work. But yeah, that's a really good option right now, and you can get away from the heat if you're targeting them, especially at night. You can get out of the sun a little bit. Wanted to also mention something else. If you are fishing from at night, just be careful out there, because it gets dark, and these fish typically don't start biting until about 9:30, 10 o'clock, a little while after the sun goes down. So right now days are long, and sometimes the sun doesn't set until about 9 o'clock. So a lot of times these fish won't turn on until about 10. So don't be alarmed if you're out there at 9 o'clock and you haven't had a bite, or if they're just picking at it. It'll be like someone hit a switch. When they turn on, they really turn on. Just keep chumming, keep working it. And if they haven't turned on by about 11, then you might have a problem. You may need to move, or it might not be your night. But typically, they do turn on right around 9:30, 10 o'clock when it gets nice and dark. With the reef fishing, the mutton fishing has been decent. It's not as good as it was, 2 or 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, where it was red hot. There's still some nice muttons being caught, but not as many. So if you put it in time, you can still get them. Yellowtail snapper, been okay around the full moon. In the daytime, it can be hit or miss. There's been some small ones. Again, you just got to work it and find the right depth depending on the current. More current you have, the shallower you have to go. Lighter current, you can fish a little deeper and just make adjustments. But they've been saving the day for a lot of fishermen out there. Well, guys, that's pretty much it for right now. I'm going to be trying to put together some new tutorials in the coming week or so. So stay tuned for those. And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell for the notifications, and don't forget to like this video. Thanks again, guys. Bye-bye.